What's up, Black? How you doing?
My dog.
What's up, Rich, man?
What up with it?
Oh, man, I'm still trying to catch up from last night.
Man.
Rich,
I'm talking about.
look,
What pockets
I
you like?
don't know if you see, I count pockets.
look, I'm
so
like, don't call me king, call me Rich, motherfucker.
I count pockets now.
I gotta wear this shirt around and he gonna count your pockets.
Yeah, I count pockets. Yeah,
You better believe it,
bro.
You better believe
I'm sure about to follow you to the car.
Hey, you heard what he just said. Don't nobody mess with him.
Don't nobody mess with
That
me,
man
bro.
walked straight down the street. Captain America walked down the street.
Watched him walk down the street. I was like, there's no way this man walking down the street with one dude. you made it like that.
Look, ain't nobody, they look at me and they go, nah, I'ma just go ahead. I'm like, yeah, you go ahead.
They be like, that's Sam Wilson.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Welcome to the Pivot, Anthony
What's up,
Mackie,
baby?
home team, man. Thank you so much. This is Channing Crowder. This is Fred Taylor.
Thank y'all for making it happen today, man.
Man, no, thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
man. Ryan Clark, Pivot fam, thank you for pivoting with us. Man, this is exciting for me. I remember years ago, man, we were on the same flight from here to LA.
Right.
Got an opportunity to talk, chop it up, so get an opportunity to do this. It's huge. Two boys from the 504.
That's it.
That ain't done too bad.
Right, well, 100%.
That ain't
Especially
done too-
making it out of here at that time. Because
Yeah.
at that time, it was complete. It wasn't all this. Like, you go to the parades to get shot. You didn't go to catch bees. So it was, it was just a different time, a different day and age, man. And to see it now, what the city has become, what the city's doing, the lack of economical thriving. But if you look at it, we had Super Bowl, we had Mardi Gras, we had the holidays back to back to back. So now everybody got a little money. So now the city's just bustling, but come April, everybody gonna be like, damn, this still New Orleans.
Yep.
Then they go back to robbing. Somebody gonna be in your house.
I'm from the West Bank, right?
Right.
And so
I forgive you for that.
I know. Hey, I'm imperfect.
Right.
But when we were growing up, bro, if you heard somebody went to NOLA, it's like, oh, that kid's different.
Right.
Right? That kid was gifted
Right.
or special or understood the arts in the way the rest of us that was just trying to play football ain't
Right.
know.
Right.
Tell me how you take a kid from the 7th Ward, though, bro, and he adjusts and adapts to Juilliard.
It was the process, dude. Like it used to be, the schools here had programs for kids. So you could learn arts, you could learn math, you can learn science, you can learn music at the school. So in 3rd grade, they wanted to put me on Ritalin. And my mom was like, y'all ain't putting my baby on them gateway drugs. I didn't know what a gateway, I didn't know what it, I was like, I don't want to do drugs, right? Because this was the time of DARE and like all that shit, like coming out of Reaganomics. And I was like, Mama, I don't want to be a drug addict, right? So this lady, Sandra Anderson Richards, she was a teacher here in New Orleans, and I auditioned for the Talent in Theater program because she asked me to. And, we had a meeting with the principal, and our principal was so racist, dude. This is the most racist woman I've ever met in my life. And she wanted to put me in special ed and put me on Ritalin, like just put me in a corner. And Miss Richards was like, no, his grades are good. He's just distracted and he's bored. Like, we need to focus in. We need to find a way to teach him in a creative way. So I auditioned for this program, got in. So every day after school, I would go with her and do theater and all this other shit that was so cool that I would sit in class, do all my work, and I'm like, yo, I'm ready to go, because if I don't finish my work, I can't go to theater. So she really became a disciplinarian for me all the way up until 9th grade, right? And then in 9th grade, we do a speech and debate competition at 35, and I won doing Sunday Morning Prophecy by Langston Hughes. And I met this woman named Linda Cook. Linda Cook was like, you should audition for NOLA. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make you audition for NOLA. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Never heard of NOLA, never knew anything about it. Went up to NOLA, right up here. Now I'm from, Gentilly, I'm from the other side of the city. So NOLA was all the way up here in the hook of the river. So my mom put me in a car, and this is the white side of town, so you don't go up there. They don't want you in their neighborhoods. So my mom's like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to come up here every day. I was like, oh, it'll be good. So we go up to NOLA, audition. I couldn't find my way out of Uptown. So I walked. Dude, it was about 7 miles, bro. By the time I got home, it was like 9 o'clock. And my mom was like, yo, dumbass, why you didn't take the bus? I was like, I didn't know how to take the bus. I didn't know where I was at, right? So I made it all the way home, found out the next week that I got into NOLA. And the crazy thing about NOLA was, as weird or as obtuse as those kids were, it was the first place I felt like I belonged. It was the first time I was sitting around like black kids who come from diverse backgrounds, white kids who come from money, who live uptown. You know, there was this white kid in my class, his summer between junior year and senior year, he backpacked across Europe. I'm like, so you just took a bag of clothes and walked across Europe? He's like, yeah, my parents wanted me to experience my cultural significance and my history. What? So hearing this shit, like it just really opened my mind to like outside of New Orleans and not wanting to be here. Summer between my sophomore year and my junior year, I auditioned for North Carolina School of the Arts, got in and went for the summer session. And that's where it clicked. Once I got there and I saw kids who were doing it professionally, making money, like thriving, I was like, oh, this is an artist community. Like, I'm not weird here, this is the norm. Right. You know what I mean? So once that started, it really became a thing of like me figuring out where I fit in. Mm-hmm. So I graduated summer school, came back here for my junior year, then I was like, yo, I'm out. Went to North Carolina for my senior year, finished high school there.
Gosh.
Because then I'm a fucking straight A student. Like so much so, like, you know, I'm in college. That's literally the University of North Carolina is where I finished high school. And that was because I had great teachers. Like my teachers at NOLA were amazing. And they displaced the idea of, you know, white people for me. Because for me, white people ain't like black people. Because these white people ain't like black people. Like New Orleans stop at Canal Street and start up at Covington. Yeah. There's nothing in between. Mm-hmm. They don't go to Gentilly. They don't go to the East. They don't go to the Ninth Ward. They don't do that. So you have two different cities, you know? Oh, I know. So once they dispelled the idea of all white people being racist, the sky was the limit.
Big dog, you being a prodigy, like you having that, whatever it was, got you out of it. Like you're saying, now you got to sneak into those other places. You got to be comfortable in those platforms and all.
Right.
You went to Juilliard and all. Like, that's something that a dude from New Orleans doesn't do.
Well, you know, it's funny because like we have a pretty substantial amount of kids who went to Juilliard. Like you think Wendell Pierce, Wynton Marsalis, Irvin Mayfield, basically all the Marsaluses. You know, you have Harry Connick, you have all these people from here, but they were musicians. Yep. Like, you know, but you look at all the actors that came out of New Orleans. I mean, Carl Weathers is from the Ninth Ward. You know what I mean? Like when I saw Action Jackson, I was like, that dude from New Orleans. You know what I mean? It's like there was so much, one of the greatest inspirations in my life, I was 13 years old, Wendell Pierce came to my high school, and I'll never do, he pulled up in a black Porsche. I was like, yo, my first time seeing a car that wasn't like a Buick. Right. He get out in an all white linen suit with a white linen hat. I was like, this motherfucker's rich, right? He come in school, and I had never seen a black dude look cool like that. And he started telling us about his experience going to Juilliard, moving to New York, this and that. I went up to him at 13. I was like, I'm gonna do exactly what you did. He was like, all right, young man, good luck. I was like, yeah, you gonna see. So every step of the way since I was 13 years old, I was on Wendell Pierce's heels. Always. I would always read about him. I was always, because we both from Gentilly. I would always talk to him. I would always hear from him. And then the first day I got to New York, I'm sitting drinking a beer with my brother, and Wynton Marsalis walks by. So I'm like, yo, Wynton, I'm a homeboy, I'm from the boot. And he's like, oh, young, here go my number, anything you need, call me. I'm like, oh shit. So I had the two biggest dudes from the city, on my back. You know what I mean? And then I get to school and Irvin Mayfield was there. So I'm like, yo, Irv, bro, you at Juilliard? He's like, yeah, I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing this shit though. I'm like, damn. Boy, you are famous. You know what I mean? Like, you so talented, you like, nah, they ain't got nothing for me at this school. And literally the next year he left and became one of the biggest musicians in the world. So it's like, there's so much culture and art in this city. Like I always laugh, people always ask me why I live in New Orleans. I'm like, because New Orleans is the only place you can be sitting on your couch and hear a dude walking down the street practicing their trombone. Wow. No other city in the world you hear a dude walking down the street like, that C flat ain't working.
You talking about at your age, walking up to them famous dudes and really asking them questions, really getting their number. That's not normal. A lot of people will be intimidated by that.
Oh no, it was more of a thing of awe. more of a thing of appreciation, especially when it came to Winton and Wendell. Like, those are people who, there's a certain club, I say, there's a certain distinction. Like, when you meet somebody and it's like, yo, I just graduated from North Carolina School of the Arts. They're like, oh, you're not bullshitting. What you doing in New York? Well, I go to Juilliard. Oh, you not bullshitting. You know what I mean? Now, if you just here fucking around and say, I want to be an actor and you're in a Popeyes commercial, that's different. You know, you know what I mean?
Now you like every hostess in New York.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's different, dude. Once they see you ain't bullshitting and you're really focusing on your craft. Like, I was playing basketball with Wynton Marsalis. Bad jump shot, like just, for some reason, a great basketball player, right? And this motherfucker, he was like, look, to be is to study. He was like, you here studying Shakespeare, Ibsen, Chekhov. He was like, all them motherfuckers know is their neighborhood. So they can play one role really well, because that's all they got in their catalog. You know what I mean? It's like if you're a football player, you got speed, but you don't know how to use your hands. You don't know how to tackle. But you fast as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you need an arsenal of things, especially as a black dude. You got to be able to do everything. So when that call comes, you can hang with whoever you need to hang with, you know? Yeah. So when Wendell gave me that knowledge, because it was just like knowing him, like, this dude is the best jazz musician in the world, but also can come down here and do like a street second line. You know what I mean? But also can play, like, one of my favorite songs is the Carnival de Venice. This dude played a song with an orchestra that was written for 2 trumpets.
By itself.
By itself.
Yep.
So if you can do that, who's gonna tell you what you can't do?
You're so dynamic and multifaceted, right? You go from Papa Doc, Clarence, live at home with his parents and all that good shit.
He went to Clarebrook. That's a private school.
That's right.
Hey, and I'll tell you this, Google Cranbrook. That shit is not a school. Bruh, I took a drive past, because that wasn't in the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we're doing the movie, and, you know, Eminem is just such a brilliant dude. We're on set one day, and he's like, yo, it don't make sense that we beefing. I was like, right? He was like, I need something, like, on you. So we're talking. We talk for like 2 hours, like chilling. I'm like, all right, man, I'll see you later. I go to the casino. The next day we're shooting a battle scene. And that's why I'm standing there like, you're talking about me. You're not talking about Clarence. This has nothing to do with the character. You're an asshole, Eminem.
Hey, was that why you holding the mic like this?
Right. I'm like, I won't fight this motherfucker. I'm like, yes, my parents are still married.
See, but that's the craziest thing, because you got entertainment, right? And then you got the art of storytelling, and he's just simply amazing. But for you to play that character, obviously to play Tupac, the Hurt Locker, you're dancing, and now you're Captain America.
Right.
Like, you got real superpowers. We grew up on superheroes. Like, we don't see like a black superhero. Like, did it actually hit you that you are really Captain America? Like, that's crazy, bro.
Me and my boy was having this conversation yesterday, and it's been weighing on my mind and my heart, because it hasn't.
It's crazy.
And I'm not sure why. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, the idea of walking down the street by myself isn't something that's become an oddity or an idea of something I shouldn't or can't do anymore. The idea of coming to my favorite restaurant isn't an idea of something I can't or shouldn't do anymore. I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart, like I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can be the most brilliant motherfucker. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all, there were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster, but somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? And because of that, I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what? I should be the lead of the next Spike Lee movie. So I should be starring opposite Denzel.
Is that
because that's what happened with everybody else.
So to that thought process, why are you the one? It's the craziest thing, man. He brought up Tupac. I don't think you did a great job of being Tupac.
That's fair.
I tell you, because you were younger, it was years ago.
That's fair.
So why are you the one, even speaking on that, why are you the one that, I don't know, chosen to be that dude, but bruh, you that dude.
Diligence. Prime example, when I went up to New York to audition for Juilliard, it was the consortium audition. So it was like 100 schools in New York just auditioning kids who want to go to school for theater. They told you prepare 2 monologues, a contemporary, a classical, a comedic, and a serious monologue, and a 2-minute clip of a song. So to me, I prepare 15 monologues and 4 songs.
Dang.
Wow.
So when I walk into my audition, I'm ready. You know what I mean? So everybody else do their 2 monologues, and they're like, oh, that didn't go well. They asked me if I had something else, and I was like, no. And my goal, my realization, my teacher told me, always get them to ask you more. Because once they start asking you, that means they're interested. Once they start talking to you, they didn't say goodbye, have a good day. Every audition I've been in, I do the audition, that's when it's like, where you from? What you doing? Now I know you're interested.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my 8 Mile audition. Dude, I never even read for the director. I went into the room, I had my sides, I was ready. It was Curtis Hanson, God rest his soul. Molly Finn was the casting director, God rest her soul. And I had done nothing. She saw me in a play about Tupac called Up Against the Wind off Broadway, which Tupac's mother and sister came to and loved.
I still don't like how you play Pop.
So I do the play. Molly Finn sees the play. She's like, I want you to come in and audition for Curtis for this movie that we're doing. I'm like, bet. So I go in, like 2 weeks later, audition. So Curtis Hanson had just released a movie called Wonder Boys with Tobey Maguire, right? And I was a Tobey Maguire fan at the time. So I walk in, I'm like, yo, Kurt, I just need to ask you a question, bro. I'm like, Wonder Boys was like an ode to Hitchcock. He's like, what do you mean? I said, the moving formats in the background, the thought process of the character being emulated in the scene and the movements behind him. I'm like, were you like, was that a conscious decision? And he looks at me, he's like, stop the camera. Who told you that? I was like, nobody, I just see it. Like when I watch a Hitchcock movie, when I watch Lambs of the Slaughter, every time a certain woman is on screen, you have birds of prey. Other women, you have doves and like pheasants or fowls. So one of them is the aggressor, one of them is the prey, you know what I mean? So we go back and forth, and we talk for like 45 minutes about this movie and about Hitchcock. 2 weeks later, I get a call, and it's Curtis. He goes, yo, Mekhi Phifer decided to do the movie, so he's gonna be in that role, but there's a smaller role. I said, I'm in. He's like, but you have to, I'm in. I'm like, I get to hang with you on set? I'm in. So every day on set, I'm next to Curtis Hanson. Every day on set, he's coming to me, showing me a shot list, showing me all the stuff, because now we have that connection. Now I got him talking. So a lot of people don't know Papa Doc was three scenes and 4 lines. I was supposed to be there a week. After that week, he said, you have something else to do? I was like, nah. He made a Schedule F, run a picture, and he added all those scenes for that character.
Really?
Yeah.
That
was never in the script.
I love listening to you talk, because you like all my homeboys.
Yeah.
Right? Like we just all the same.
Right.
And I listened to what you said though about we are doing our kids a disservice. We're lying to our kids. Right? I would always say that people are lying to their kids when they tell them they can be whatever they want to be. Because you actually can't be whatever you want to be. Because some things you don't have the potential to be.
Absolutely.
Right? And the thing that I got a lot growing up was you have to be twice as good. You have to be twice as smart. You have to work twice as hard. You have to know twice as much. That was your life.
Right.
Right? You were, I was at Easton, but I'm going to go to NOLA. I was at NOLA, but I'm gonna go to North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina, now I'm gonna go to Juilliard. You did all of those things.
Right.
But there's still a proving ground for you that's gonna be a different proving ground for someone of a different skin color that would have done the exact same things that you've done. But then you are now Captain America. What's more difficult? Convincing people that you are the correct replacement for one of Marvel Universe's truly just standout franchise faces, Chris Evans, or convincing the world that Captain America can be black?
I don't think it's a question of convincing people or convincing the world. My biggest hurdle was convincing myself. When you're given a huge opportunity like that, you have to take into consideration the possibility that you might fail. You might get out there and lay an egg. So for me, I knew if I got the role, if they decide, because I never thought they was gonna give me Captain America. We had a perfectly good Captain America in the role doing a great job. Like, you know what I mean? So why me? You know, and that was one of the hardest parts. I never saw it happening, so when it happened, I was in shock. But then I got afraid. So then I had to lean on those teachers and those people around me who got me to that point. It was hard because I never figured out, and I still haven't figured out, what is there to convince people of? And that's why I say we're doing our kids a disservice. Like, I went to all those programs. I did all those movies. Everybody knows my resume. So who the fuck are you to question if I can do this? If you go to a hospital and a doctor has 100 successful surgeries and you're going in for that surgery, what you gonna say? I don't know if you can do this one, bro. You might, your hand looking a little shaky. No, I'm a professional. I'm a master of my craft. I did the math. I put in 10,750 hours of training before I had a job. So if you ask, anybody that makes you a master of your craft.
Why you ain't take the serum? Bro, I text you as soon as I walked out the movie. I was like, Harrison Ford was kicking your ass. You should have.
He threw that little thing. That nigga slapped that little thing. He said, uh-oh.
And the stuff on Instagram, the videos where like the little people will be throwing the javelin, and then it would be like a toothpick that gets stuck. That's what he looked like at the end fighting Harrison Ford.
Harrison, 92 years old, to slap that little shit out there.
But for in following your career though, I've seen you talk about things that Morgan Freeman has told you, things that Samuel L. Jackson has shared with you. Like you said, you've been in these movies, whether it's, $1 Million Baby, you've been in Hurt Locker, all of these things that people have won awards in, and movies that have won awards. What's something that you learned through art, through making films, through what you do for a career or a living that's truly stuck with you?
It's interesting. Like, you look at cats, and I feel like in order to get better, you have to work at your craft. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not acting, you're not going to become a good actor. And you see cats who get famous, and all of a sudden they're selling watches and duty free, and they so into selling watches, they ain't acting no more. Yeah. You see a dude do a movie, and all of a sudden he has an Instagram following, so he's so famous on Instagram, he ain't doing movies no more. He ain't doing theater no more. Like, I think it says a lot. Denzel's an interesting cat to me, and I've always watched him from afar and kind of not tried to emulate, but pay attention to his career and his choices. And it's informed me a lot. And when you look at it, it poses a lot of questions. But Denzel is on Broadway right now doing Othello.
Grinding.
Denzel's working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at one point, Denzel was on, and this was the most amazing point of my career. James Earl Jones was on 48th Street doing On Golden Pond. I was on 46th Street doing McReal, and Denzel was on 44th Street doing Julius Caesar. So at the end of my show, I would go out and go up to 48th Street and literally sneak in the back door and watch the end of James Earl Jones on Golden Pond. Then I'd come down 6th Avenue, go to 44th Street, and I'd see Denzel finish his play, and then he'd come out there, and everybody in the audience would come outside, 1,000 people outside and stand there and line up. And he'd come out the stage door, and he signed every program. every single program, right? Of all the people who came to the show. So one day I had the opportunity to meet him. I was like, you ain't tired of that? He goes, I used to pick up garbage. Like, he was a real life garbage man. He said, if I have to sign programs to never pick up garbage again, I'm gonna sign these motherfucking programs. And that blew my mind. That really put everything into perspective for me. It gets to a point to where the student is now the pupil. So somebody coming for your job. And I think that's where it gets tricky. Like, now I call and I'm like, what's up, man? You got some time? Nah, I'm busy. Damn.
Hey, he Othello. I mean, he did say, though, when they were doing all the gladiator stuff, he said you learn to act on stage, on Broadway.
Yeah.
He said he didn't learn to act through film, and like you've gotten opportunities to do those things too, and continue to grow.
Now, stage is a dangerous beast, dude. It's addictive because literally you get the same show, same blocking, same script every day. So now you got to be conscious enough and present enough to be able to make the tweaks in real time to affect the audience. And you got to be able to listen to the audience to where some audience is going to laugh at every joke, some audience is going to be quiet. You got the old people that come to the theater just to sleep. Real rap, you do Shakespeare, you have these fucking old people that come there with the script and they watch the play like this. So it's like a read-along to these motherfuckers. So if you get locked into that, you could get thrown off.
Right.
So you have to be able to, and for all intents and purposes, read the room. You have to be able to figure out what's going on around you and how does that play. Because that's the most important thing. It's tennis. It's a relationship between you and the audience. And once you get on set, it's the same thing. It's the fourth wall. The camera's the fourth wall. So I'm talking to you. We playing tennis. Now, if you're a shitty actor, which most of them are, you keep dropping the fucking ball, now I'm gonna have to take you over.
And do you have to pick them up? Now I don't gotta call nobody out, but if you had to pick people up, you can say names if you want to. I enjoy it, but like, did you have to pick people up? Because I've seen all your movies, and I'm like, oh, this nigga carrying this shit. But do you have to pick people up? Like, even from you, Denzel, Manchurian Candidate, like, you work with some bad people. Like, do you ever feel like the co-star when you're with them dogs? Now I do. Like, there's a big reason why I fought for and became an executive producer on Captain America. Because when I'm on set, I have to make sure you're good. So I come to you before and be like, yo, you wanna run lines? Yo, with this scene is about this, so you should do, this is without the director. You should do this and we should do that. I'm gonna give you this moment, so sit in that moment. All right, bet. All right, so what you doing? We need to do this, boom. So by the time they say action, we're ready. And we haven't even met with the director yet. Like when we were doing Avengers, like Robert Downey Jr. was on set, they would go in his trailer an hour and a half to 2 hours before ever rolling film. And he would sit there with the script and be like, this don't work, this work, rewrite this, do that. So we're all sitting there, like, waiting. And I was like, wow, he really has the ability to do that. Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, that makes sense. That script has to work for his character to work. And nobody know the character better than him. Mm-hmm. You know? So there's a lot of times where it's not so much you lift other actors up, but you make sure they play to your strengths. Bro, you work with you bring up names that's just like, you say them so casually, like, yeah, my homeboy Denzel, old Don Cheadle, he did this. Like, how you talk about it? But Freddie, that's my homeboy 20 years. But I was like, what he did on the field, like this man 6'1", 240, running a 4.2. Right. Like, you would respect that. Right. To that point, like, who's them dudes that, like, you bring up Cheadle, Denzel, like, them people that's like, I can't. Junior say I was one for me. Yeah. You remember Junior? Yeah. I played with Junior, and I watched him my rookie year. I watched Junior play linebacker, and I told my coach, I was like, I'll never be as good as that. I was like, he just does things I can't do. Fair. Like, who's them dudes that you just look at like, Denzel, I mean, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. Yeah. And he fucked it up for everybody. That's why you have so many bad actors, is because of Denzel. Because he makes it look so easy. Motherfuckers watch it and be like, oh, I can do that. No, you can't. He's just that good. Yeah. He's that good that it looks effortless.
So when Deion Sanders comes out and blazes down the field, that don't mean you can run that. You can work your entire life. You can eat right, you can get a trainer, you can do jump squats out your ass. You will never be able to compete with him.
Yeah.
And that's Denzel. But it's interesting now because the category of acting has changed. You know what I mean? Like, Hollywood don't make stars anymore. Think about it. When we were kids, you had Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Tom Cruise, Denzel, Morgan Freeman. You had Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Pacino, De Niro.
Pacino, De Niro. I mean, you can name, and I'm not even talking about the women. You can name 50 dudes who were making $10 to $20 million a movie. Now, who's our De Niro?
You Captain America. You are Captain America.
How much of that do you think social media influenced?
I think, great question. I think social media is a big part of it, but also I think a big part of it is just pay.
Okay.
Like, there's nobody out there like busting up making $10 million a movie. Like, it's just not happening anymore. But ticket prices are going up.
Right.
It's $25 to go to the movies.
Yep.
Whereas when we were young, it was $8. They were making $20 million a movie. Now we're making $5 to $7. So there's a huge disparity. Where's that extra money going? Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting when you look at it. If you don't make huge stars, you can pay them less. So that's why every 2 years you have some 21 and 25-year-old white boy pop up, and he has a 5-year run. Next thing you know, he's in a State Farm commercial, and that's it. Then he does a movie with Anne Hathaway, and that's it. And then they get a new one. You know what I mean? Like with black dudes, it's the exact same thing. In 25 years, I've seen the gauntlet, and I'm the only one still here. When I came in the game, it was Mekhi Phifer, Omar Epps, Mos Def. Those were the big dogs, right? Then it went to Mos Def, Derek Luke, Rob Brown, then throw in your random rapper. Then it went to Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors, Damson Idris. I've seen 3 generations come and go. And that's what's scary about it. You see the motherfuckers come and get hot, and then all of a sudden, poof. And it's like, yo, you have no staying power. You have no, because you're not diversifying your portfolio. If all you're investing in is Walmart and Walmart has a bad week, you're fucked. So you gotta be able to do all the other shit. And that's what I always tell young actors. The question is whether you wanna be a working actor or a celebrity. If you wanna be a celebrity, go to LA and be a fucking celebrity. Date a Kardashian and have a great time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you want... No. But if you want to be a working actor, that's a different thing. When I did Half Nelson, Ryan Gosling got nominated for an Oscar. I got paid $65 a day to do that movie.
Damn.
When I did Hurt Locker, I was doing a movie in North Carolina called, I ain't gonna even call it because the director was trash and the movie was trash and he never directed again because he was trash. The movie was called Bolden. You can look him up. He was fucking trash. He was trash. And I'll say it to his face. So I was doing Bolden. Bolden went over. So I had to drop out of Hurt Locker. They went to another actor, offered him the same $55,000 to do Hurt Locker. He said, no, it wasn't enough money. They came back to me and they were like, look, we'll hold the movie for a week, but you got to get on a plane the day you wrap. I said, bet. I wrapped that night, 7 a.m. that morning, I was on a flight to Amman, Jordan.
Wow.
And then Hurt Locker in 2009 became Hurt Locker. But I did that because he decided it wasn't enough money.
Yeah.
Like, my dad told me only hoes work for money. If you love it, you never work a day in your life. The money gonna come.
Right.
So, fuck. When I was a kid, $55,000 is more money I thought I'd ever make in my life. Even my daddy was like, boy, they paying you $55,000?
But that's so New Orleans. Hey, that is so New Orleans.
My dad was like, shit, I'm gonna get a new truck. I'm like,
You talk about sort of that gauntlet of people. It reminds me of Jay's song, Every Day a Star is Born, right? When A Star is Born, in that song, he talks about the different phases. He's talking about like 50, DMX,
Right.
Eminem. He talks about Ja Rule, Lil Wayne. He talks about all these people who had these spells and these runs, and he's like, but I'm still here.
Right.
Right? He's like, I'm waiting to give it to somebody. It's just y'all can't take it.
Right.
When you look at acting as it is now, and you talk about the changing landscape, how do you create longevity then?
By diversifying your portfolio. I mean, my problem now is this. I'm 46 years old, so I want to get into producing. I want to start curating the Anthony Mackie experience. Tyler Perry has shown us the mold.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get this motherfucker enough respect. What you think about his projects or whatever, this motherfucker has created the wheel, so it don't make sense for me to get a chisel and try to make another one. Like, the brilliance and the ingenuity in which he's executed this business is phenomenal. And we have to acknowledge that. No one else has been able to do that. He makes more money than most studios, right? So you have to curate your experience. Captain America was an Anthony Mackie curated experience because I produced it. Everything. I had a say on all that shit. You know what I mean? When they hired the director called me and was like, yo, I want to be on this movie. You know, well, Octavia called me and cursed me out for about 30 minutes and told me I had to hire him.
Octavia,
yo, this chick, she called me and cursed me out for 30 minutes. I'm like, I didn't even say hello. Mackie, your black ass, let me tell you something. Oh, Lord. But that's how we found our director, you know? And once you curate that experience, you start to put yourself in a position where people know what to expect of you. Every time you see a Tom Cruise movie, that's a curated Tom Cruise experience. Will Smith used to be a curated Will Smith. You knew what you were getting. So at this point in my career, because as men, your golden window is 35 to 60. Like, you look at Denzel, you can still play Loverboy at 60. You can still do action. Liam Neeson, 115 years old.
Hey, Tom on another mission soon.
Yo,
Yeah.
that motherfucker 80 years old.
Liam Neeson's daughter need to keep her ass in the house. She keep going over there to Bulgaria.
Sit your ass down. But you look at these cats, you make your money from 35 to 60. That's when you have enough years in the business to where people trust you and they know what's coming with you. So that way they can say, let's do this. Because I always thought I would be a dramatic actor. I always thought I would be the actor, you know, sitting in there crying about my kid dying, you know, or some World War II shit like Denzel and shit, right? But I've realized now that I'm more of a action star. And I think a lot of it came from, you know, playing football and the athletics that I did. But my career now is based upon my athleticism. So I did a movie, Outside the Wire, on Netflix, my first Netflix joint. Second day of production, goddamn stuntman go over the table, bust his head, concussed. I mean, eyes in his shit like that, right?
I've been there.
Yeah. That's why I quit football. I was like, I don't feel good. They're like, you have a concussion. Thanks. There we go. But this motherfucker was knocked out. So we still had 6 more weeks to shoot. There were no stuntmen available. We couldn't fly anybody, and everybody I worked with before was booked up. I wasn't using the European dude, so I had to do all my shit. I did that movie. Netflix come back. They're like, yo, we watched the BTS. You really was over there kicking, jumping, and whooping ass. I'm like, yeah. They were like, bet. Boom. Next one. Boom. Next one. And that's even with the Captain America stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, I have a great stuntman, but my stuntman choreograph and dictate stuff to my ability.
That's why you can't kick? Why you can't kick?
I can't kick, bro. Nigga, you got tight hips too. Fuck you. Your hamstrings tight. Fuck you. Old ass. Still trying to talk that shit. Oh, just for men ass. You know you can't. You can't lie about your age. Kiss my ass.
That's all you, RC? That's all you?
Oh, no, I got a little.
Hell no. That's what
Speedy came down there. I put a little pain in it. Hey, I knew Mac was gonna be on the show, so some actors and stuff gonna watch this joint. Like, you never know what producer watch this. Be like, dang. They might be like, he actually kind of look like Ant.
Right, we could use him.
We could use him. And now I'm in there.
But it's about switching it up, dude. Yeah. Even now, like with all the athletes, it's so interesting with the podcast scene, the commercial scene, the acting scene now. Like, look at what the Mannings are doing. You know, and, you know, quiet as kept, like, the Mannings are, like, just dull. Like, they're just regular old dudes. They're not, like, you know, great personalities, you know? But they've been able to take their brand and really build it to something huge. You look at the Kelseys, they were able to, you know, take that Taylor Swift bump and take it to another level. You know what I mean? And I think it's interesting now with the athletes, how they're able to diversify their lanes and able to take that and use that in a way to where I have a big market in Pittsburgh, right? So I'm gonna do this in Pittsburgh, or I'm gonna do that in Pittsburgh. And athletes have always done that. They always had the car dealership or the barbecue joint, or, it's the same thing, just in a different form.
I want to go back to the lie to your children, right? You're a father of 4. I've also heard you say to your kids, they don't really give a damn about what you do. Like my kids, they care less that I played ball. They did not give a f at all. But for you, how do you balance being a father with everything Hollywood, and what messages from your upbringing do you impart with them as they grow?
It's funny. I was pretty sure up until Captain America, my kids had no idea what I did. We're literally sitting there, we go see Sonic the Hedgehog, and I didn't know they were playing the Cap trailer before Sonic. So we sitting there, and I got all the shit, dude. I got popcorn, gummy worms. I got they had to bring out a tray for all my shit, right? So I'm talking to my son, hooking up his candy. I hear my voice. Like, oh shit.
See what they
So I'm looking at my kids so I don't say nothing. My oldest son's on his phone. My second son's knee deep in these fucking gummy worms, right? The 2 little ones are fighting and throwing popcorn at each other. So I'm like, bruh, look at the fucking screen. So everybody behind us go, oh my God, are you okay? They missed the whole trailer. Whole trailer. Like, what's wrong with you, Dad? Fuck it. But with Captain America is interesting because I try to keep my boys outside of it. I don't want my boys affected by it or even acknowledge the idea of what Hollywood is and what it means to the general populace. Because I want them to find their own path. And we're blessed. We're put in a position where we can afford our kids the best. We're in a position where our grandkids, our great-grandkids will be provided for. We weren't like that.
Right.
I know on the West Bank you wasn't like that.
No doubt.
Yeah, y'all ate, Vienna sausages and poke and beans,
I did, though.
That's what I'm saying. But
Straight
that's
up.
real.
Yeah.
That's where we came from. I keep my boys humble. My boys have never had a pair of Jordans. My boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like, your kids. And no, I don't give a f. I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make Dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open the door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always, since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, motherfucker climb through the window, that money means nothing.
Right.
You can have all the celebrity in the world, motherfucker jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different. You feel it when you go to Europe. You see these and you're like, could bust your ass, boy. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You go to Europe.
Tight ass pants.
Yeah, tight ass pants. Motherfucker, we good, boy, you better lotion your ankle. You feel it when you go to Europe. Even when I was just in Kenya and I was walking around, I'm like, yeah. Dude was like, you ain't from here. Like, nah. Yeah, I could tell. I know you can. I could tell I ain't from here. You know what I mean? It's just that American male masculinity is something I think is very important for boys. Because now our little boys are afraid to fail, so they don't try. You know what I mean? When we were kids, we did tackle drills. We would run face first into each other.
We just
were
talked
just
about
talking
it.
shooting they shot.
Dudes don't even talk to a woman face to face no
They
more.
don't know how no more because, women they are so mean and so angry. Bruh, I saw this, my nephew was talking to this girl. Oh my God, dude, she just killed him. I mean, he was like, excuse me, how you doing? She goes, ugh. How do you come back from that? He just walked over to me. I gave him his beer. I was like, there you go, bro. That didn't happen. Let's start over.
You said Betty White shot her shot at you, and you flinched. You ain't doing that.
Yes. But the thing about it is, when you look at the reason I flinched and the reason I thought it was so funny, when you look at the history of her in Hollywood, it was actually like a touching moment. Right. Like Betty White had her own like Johnny Carson late night show. She was the first person to put a black man on television. Wow. And that's why they canceled her show. Wow. They were like, take him off. He was like the dance instructor for the show. And he would dance on the show and they were like, take him off or you're gonna get canceled. One season she was canceled with a highly rated show. So you know, when you see who you're dealing with, when you go back and watch Golden Girls, you know what I mean? And when Don Cheadle, one of my favorite episodes of TV ever, there was a Golden Girl episode, and Blanche came out and put the Confederate flag in front of the check-in booth. So Don Cheadle had this moment, bruh, and this is when I knew. I was like, this dude ain't human. Like, there's no way he's acting like this is the best actor of all time, right. Hands down. Like, I started acting because of Don Cheadle and this moment. Like the monologue he had, the way he cut them to pieces, the way he utilized his words about that flag. I was like, holy shit, that's what we doing. We're using words to affect change.
Right.
So that's why it's always been so important to me to like I've been chasing this. My first job was Don Cheadle's understudy in Top Dog Underdog. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's one of those dudes you look at, you talk to, you call, and you're like, yo, man, what do you think about this? He goes, well, Mackie, that's just stupid. Damn, good point, my bad.
And like with Don, right, we got to meet him, and it's like a lot of these dudes, you don't actually know they're not from here.
Right.
Right, like if you look at Don Cheadle and everything you've seen him, he's like, he's from the hood.
Right.
And they're not. Or
right.
Damson Idris, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You watching Snowfall, and then I heard him talk, and I was like,
right.
Holy hell. Stringer Bell. Right. You couldn't have told me that Stringer Bell wasn't from here.
Right.
So in that, like for you, you're talking about American masculinity, right, being taken. And then there's also being a black man in Hollywood and trying to get these jobs. And then now you do add to it that the same role you're going for, that it might be somebody that's from New Orleans that you're supposed to be playing. But that role could go to somebody from the UK.
100%.
How much does it affect that, like there's so much going into getting that job?
The UK explosion has been really interesting because it's not the other way around. You know what I mean? Like a British dude can come here and do a shitty accent or do a good De Niro impersonation. They're like, wow, I couldn't even tell you were from London. I'm like, I could. What the fuck are you talking about? Don't nobody talk like that. I ain't gonna say no names, but you watch these motherfuckers and they just do, like the white dudes do De Niro impersonations, the black dudes do Denzel impersonations. And don't fuck around and put a British dude next to Denzel. That motherfucker gonna be sitting there mouthing the words Denzel's saying, like it's crazy when you see it, bruh. And I think just because I've been in the business so long, I can recognize it. But if you go to London, everybody has a different accent. There's no standard British accent. You go to Shepherd's Bush, you go to Notting Hill, you go to any part of London, every single person has a different accent because everybody's from somewhere else, right? So if you do a British accent, they're like, nah, that's not British. I'm like, really? Because I know a motherfucker that sounds just like that. But you can come here and do a shitty American accent. You know what I mean? And we accept that shit.
It almost feel like long as it's not British no more, it's okay.
True story. I was working with this actor, and he was supposed to be from the South, right? Supposed to be from New Orleans. So I'm a producer on the movie. Midway the movie, I go to the director, I'm like, hey, we need to put a line in here that this motherfucker moved here from another country because that motherfucker ain't from America. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he had 5 different accents in one role. Like he had to say y'all, right? Easy, y'all.
Yeah.
And motherfucker was like, yow. How you put both L's in that motherfucker? What are you doing? So every time we're on camera, and my performance in the movie is bad because the whole time, every time he talk, I'm just looking at him like, nah. Like the whole movie should have been called Nah, because every time I'm on screen, I'm like, that ain't it, bro, that ain't it. So we literally put a line in there, like, you know, what made you move to New Orleans at such a young age to be a doctor? Like when you left Europe, what was that about?
Right.
So it's like, all right, now we established that this motherfucker ain't from here, so he can talk this crazy shit.
Right. Have you ever had to turn a role from a white role to fit you? Like I think Morgan Freeman, Red was supposed to be like an actual Irishman.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to work to get somebody to say, nah, don't change the role. Like I can do this role.
Dude, Hurt Locker. Hurt Locker was written for a white dude. 50-60% of my films were written for white dudes. And now it's to the point, it's interesting. Unless you're doing a movie in the damn, you know, Swiss Alps in 1812, they don't even put race in a character description anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, because so much stuff has changed in Hollywood that you don't really see that anymore. But in the early 2000s, it was like character breakdown, white male, Tom Cruise type, white shoes, white speech, clear and white teeth, white. But now they don't really do that anymore. But there's been, I mean, a lot of movies that were written for white actors that, like I said, once I took the meeting with the director, all this shit, I've done 100 movies, you know I can act. Now it's about if we get along. Because I ain't showing up to work every day if you're annoying the fuck out of me. I'd rather just not do the movie because I'm gonna slap the shit out you.
You really had to Google me, bro. Standard, like, don't nigga Google me. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you're at that. But all the roles you do, what was the hardest? Cause like we've had other actors on, and I'm like to challenge that. I think I'm sneaking on brother to brother.
Perry? Perry?
Cause you kissed a man. Like now I've heard you say in the past, like some people told you that would kill your career to be gay. Like just channeling those roles, but just getting in that mind frame, that mindset of doing roles that really ain't you.
Right.
You were married, got 4 sons, but
Right.
now you kissing a man, like channeling that. You kissed a man.
He's different.
like-
Nah, he
I was worried about that.
Hey, no, I was worried about him because he ain't had no facial hair, and I don't really feel like you can trust a black man
You
with no
can't
facial
with
hair.
that booty face. Nah, I grew that shit right
At least that
back.
little thin one. At least that.
Hey, I don't like that, dog.
So my first job when I was at Juilliard, there was this guy named Michael Wynn. He was a writer. And we workshopped and did a play about Tupac called Up Against the Wind. So I've played Tupac 3 times. On stage, off Broadway, and in the movie, right? So the interesting thing was Michael Wynn wrote this play called Up Against the Wind. We did it at school. This guy, Rodney Evans, came to see it. He was doing this movie. He wanted me to play Perry's best friend, who was the poet. And I was like, nah, Perry's the best role. Like, I don't give a fuck that he gay. Like, it's the best role. He's like, well, you can't play gay. I said, why? He's like, because you're not gay. I was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'm an actor. We acted, right? So after a lot of back and forth, he gave me the role, mostly because he couldn't find anybody else who can act. So, got the role, did the movie, finished the movie, went off to do 8 Mile. So that was literally my first movie. Damn. But I did it for a specific reason. Growing up in the South in the 90s and 80s, you grow up homophobic, sexist, and racist. And we talking about the 80s and the 90s. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? So when I got to school, my roommate was gay. Like, I didn't know how to deal with that. Like, my brother's gay. I didn't know how to deal with that. So being a man, I used my art to better myself. I played Perry so that I could understand my brother better. So I could understand my friends better. Going to art school, a bunch of my friends were gay. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, we had a record label. We had the first gay rapper. Nobody gave a f***. You make good music, nobody care. You know, Big Frida is famous.
Here, for sure.
For sure. You know what I mean? So the idea of being gay in New Orleans has always not only been supported, but it's been a part of the culture. But with me, I needed to figure out what was my holdup? What was my insecurity about that? And once I played that role, I realized everybody deserves to be loved. It's not my job to say who you love or who should love you. If you loved, I'm happy for you. That don't mean I'm gay. You know, so Perry was more so a statement piece for me with the love and admiration for my brother, with the appreciation and respect of my friends for that culture. It really put me in a position where I think it made me a better actor because I had to go so far out the box. I had to go to the furthest spectrum away from myself to play that role.
Was that the hardest role that you had to conjure?
No. I really answered the question, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? I did some of my best acting in my career, like literally high fives walking off set every day on this Amazon show. So it was me acting against myself. So I had to learn literally 65 pages of dialogue. So the premise of the show was, I was a dude who realized he had a terminal illness. So you could order a clone of yourself, and you get 48 hours to teach that clone everything he needs to know to live as you for your family for going forward. So literally, I had to play clone me and real me. And dude, I'll tell you something, man. It was the hardest experience I've ever had in my career. It really, and I did it for that reason. I was like, you know, you get comfortable. You're doing 4 or 5 movies a week. You're making money. You got the truck. It's like all this shit. You're just chilling. You know, money ain't a question no more. So what's the question? So after the past 20 years, I was like, I really need to do something to see if I still got it. Like, I really need to find a role that challenges me. So found this role, met with the director, and did it, and murdered it. I don't talk about my work a lot, but this one I said, I fucking murdered it. And not too many people could have done what I did with that role. But nobody saw it.
I'm about to say, what's the goddamn? I need the name or something, man.
Not one person saw it.
It's not on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Well, you got one view.
We always ask our guests, what's their biggest pivot, right, in life? That's that one moment you can look back on and say, without this moment happening to me, I wouldn't be who I am. But I want you to respond in your New Orleans accent, because nobody will never hear it.
That's funny. I'll say when I was in 10th grade, my best friend got killed. And I saw it. Like, I was standing there with him, and I was across the street. He was at the gas station. Dude got out and just mowed him down. And I realized I had to leave New Orleans. Like, a lot of people don't know this, I don't talk about it. My mom passed away when I was 15. So after that, I was in a spiral. You know what I mean? I was in the streets, I was doing dumb shit, like just running around being an idiot. Because I was basically, I know I can say now, I was acting out, railing against God. Like, there are all these bad people out here. Why would you take my mom? Like, my mom go to church every Sunday. We do the feeding of the hungry once a month. Like, why would you take my mom? My mom's a great mother. She's a humanitarian. She took care of kids. She take care of the neighborhood. Why would you take my mom? So I really went to a dark place. And because of that, a lot of dark stuff happened. And the passing of my mom with my friend getting killed is what preempted me to go to North Carolina for that summer. Because I knew if I stayed that summer, I wouldn't be here today. It's just, it is what it is. That was the big moment. When my mom passed away, I literally was done, you know? I mean, my dad was a great dad, but there's only so much you can do without a mom.
Right.
So once I found an understanding and a love for my craft, it filled that void. It filled that hole, you know, and it really gave me a better understanding of myself. So I would say that was the big moment. But seeing my boy get killed, like that was crazy.
It's so many people that we know that have had that experience.
Yeah.
It's not just about New Orleans, right? I think a lot of times we do get the reputation of that because it's, you know, what P used to say, murder capital of the world.
Right.
Right? And it was part of our experience. But I also know that you had a teacher that told you, don't let them people get all that New Orleans about you.
Right.
And stay authentic to that, man. And I think you have, and that's what's the most exciting part for me. Like
Right.
when I do see you on screen, and I'm not gonna lie, it feels good that I can text you after the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I got his number, I'm just gonna text him after the movie. But to know that somebody else from here made it, man. Somebody else from here has done well, but also somebody else from here comes back.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
And you,
right.
you know, you move away, you experience things, but you remember all the people here and what it means to see you walk down the street,
Right.
wave and shake a hand, man.
No, I still talk to my teachers. I was literally with my high school acting teacher last week. You know what I mean? Like I realized, you know, the importance of education and teachers. You know, every time I had a teacher who left me off, I had another teacher who picked me up. And it was weird shit. It was shit black dudes don't do. You know what I mean? Like when I got to New York, I was studying with Felix Ivanov. He was the head clown for the Moscow Art Theater.
Yeah.
So he defected from Russia, came to America, and became like a movement and clown teacher. Now I'm studying, what other black dude you know doing circus clown class?
Right.
Like my teacher, right. But I was seeing the world in a different lane, in a different light. Like my teacher here, Ray Brazell, this motherfucker, he was like, you know, we're gonna do something different. So we do a mime troupe, right? So we're straight up doing mime shit, telling stories in mime and shit, and we're going around to old folks' home and senior citizen shit in schools, and we're performing these mime shows for kids and old people, right? Nobody else do that. But it gave me a completely different perspective on the world. You know what I mean? It was so much fun because I was doing everything I never thought was possible. Because I knew the kids uptown was doing it, the kids in private school was doing it. I knew, you know, when I would talk to kids, when I got to NOLA, like when that motherfucker told me backpack across Europe. Like, would your black ass go home and tell your mama, Mom, I'm taking 8 pair of underwear, 2 pair of pants, and 6 shirts, and I'm gonna walk across Europe for 3 months. Sit your black ass down.
And the last day she gonna tell you is we can't afford that.
Right.
So you ain't going.
Right, you ain't going.
Man, but appreciate you so much, man.
Nah,
Just
no doubt, bro.
from where you started to where you are now, but also, man, spending this time with us today, man. Thank you so much,
Y'all
man.
get something to eat? Y'all want something to eat? Y'all look hungry.
You need me to walk you to the car?
Appreciate you, family.
That's love.
Thank you, dog.
Thank y'all for coming.
No, man, appreciate you, man.
I got a wrong foot. I ain't Captain America, man.
He tried to do a
I
toe
tried to do a toe touch
bro.
for my daughter.
You lying.
Did the toe touch and landed in that big crack.
Broke his foot.
Broke my foot.
How old you in?
41.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, come on, man. Come on, man.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On this vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up.